teams, but then losing surprisingly against teams they shouldn't lose to.
And especially when you kind of count Rogue as their closest challengers in that top 4 position. When Rogue challenged G2 so much yesterday, you'd want to see XL have a dominant performance. Now, blue side set ban is not something we too commonly see. Usually it's reserved for the red side, alongside a Senna here from XL, and then the Akali Pantheon from Vitality.
Okay, so what else could we see? Syndra is still up and available. A lot of the junglers, things like Jarvan and Gragas, are also free. As I say that, XL look to ban that one away. I always talk about priority Jarvan. I think that many consider it to be one of the strongest junglers in the game right now. Last game we didn't see it, but I know that Caedral is a big fan of the jungler. When he came onto the casting desk, he talked a lot about how he thinks it's very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that be the priority. Aphelios is also still up, so if that gets through the ban phase, I wouldn't be surprised if XL look to grab that one for themselves as well.
It makes a lot of sense to pick it up early on. Patrick's already played it once this split. A couple of games on the Xayah. There's the Syndra ban from Vitality. And XL, wondering about their choices. Having a little think before they lock in.
Yeah, expect just having a bit of a giggle. I'd be very surprised if he locked any of these champions in on the first rotation. But of course, Youngbuck at the helm. You would imagine that it would be Mr. Aphelios that gets locked in.
There it is. Good prediction, Vedi.
I mean, I'd like to take credit for it, but like, it's one of those common first picks that exists.
Could have been an MF.
I mean, so Vitality now, what I would expect would actually be Senna Lee Sin. It's a very common rotation that we do see from them, and I think that it is something that often... oh, Senna's obviously banned. So they could instead do the Misfortune Lee Sin, depending on how much they value getting a bot laner right now.
I feel like you had more you were going to say in that
I was thinking.
Okay, so there's the Lee Sin.
Yes.
And the Shaco and the Jhin Hovers we're not going to talk about.
Yes.
But you say that the Misfortune Lee Sin could be good. How does LeBlanc Lee Sin feel to you?
That's fine. The problem with locking LeBlanc here is it gives a lot of room for counterpick. The argument that Vitality is making is that with Syndra banned, there is no counterpick left. Akali's gone, Pantheon's gone.
You know that there's a classic LeBlanc counterpick.
Yeah,
it's called Morgana. Didn't work too well for Mickey last time he played it.
Let's... I mean, it can work. I'm not saying that the Morgana pick is bad. It neutralizes, but Lissandra is another one. Like Ryze is another one as well that we often see banned against LeBlanc, and I think that it's very effective. Early laning phase, we can actually talk a lot about it. I'm a bit... I enjoy this matchup from the Lissandra's perspective up until, well, not for the first 6 levels because it's really, really horrible then. But the point is that by locking in the LeBlanc so early, you give this counter pick to XL, which is part of the problem that they're going to deal with. Of course, they pivot away from the Jarvan and instead prioritize the Rek'Sai because it's a better matchup into the Lee Sin. And Lissandra and Rek'Sai is actually a pretty strong 2v2, especially once the Lissandra hits level 6. For the first 1 to 5 levels, though, the LeBlanc and the Lee Sin will have that advantage. So expect Vitality to be playing around mid lane priority a lot, perhaps moving towards the bot side of the map, depending on what they look to prioritize. But of course, XL can now just ban away a lot of AD carries. Misfortune can be taken off the boards. They can also take the Varus off the boards.
Comp has played 5 different AD carries so far.
For sure.
The Senna Aphelios already off, the MF off as well as, but he's still got the Varus, he's still got the Ezreal. Has a few different options left in his pool. With the Rumble banned away by Vitality, something that works well into the Gangplank up towards that top side.
Aatrox is probably the other ban Vitality he's looking at right now.
Oh, we'll see if that's where they go. Instead, they're going to go for the Ornn. Get rid of some of that long-range engage, some of that utility on the side of XL. And
so the question is now, does Expect play any hyper carries that can really bully the Gangplank and outscale them? Like, Lucian is something you always can consider.
Mordekaiser is something we've seen a few times into the Gangplank matchup.
I'm not a massive fan because of the remove Scurvy that can just get him out of the death realm. But final ban for XL. Oh, they actually go for the Rakan instead. Oh, of course, because the one bot lane we didn't talk about was the Xayah Rakan, which would still be a very solid option for Vitality. So good awareness from XL, going to deny that possibility. They're not afraid of a Xayah in isolation, but they are afraid of the combo. So the question is, what direction will Vitality go for now? Will they look to lock in their support blind, or will they go for the AD carry? Looks like they're actually going to go for the blind Xayah. I'd be very surprised if they
it's not that blind, is it? Because you know the AD carry you're playing.
No, but...
the solo Xayah.
The solo Xayah, you are correct. That's what I mean. Instead, they're going to go for the blind Braum. This, again, gives XL a lot of options, depending on what they want to go for. We've been seeing some bards show up against it. I'm actually a really big fan of these long-range caster-type champions going into these melee supports. But right now, there's just a bit of a hover coming out from XL. They're looking to lock in their top laner, and of course, they will have the counter pick available. And Tresh is a very well-known good answer into the Braum as well.
Gives you some protection in that bottom lane as well. Aphelios can just use the Lantern to get to safety. In mid-game team fights, you can get the Lissandra jumping in, using the Lantern to get out if she needs.
Ooh, Maokai, that's what we want back.
I'm quite enjoying the Blue Man group setup that XL have
they really
so
have.
far. Cho'Gath. Oh, yes.
I like this.
Hey.
This is cool. So a Vizichachi throwback. This guy, Vizichachi brought out the Cho'Gath at Worlds a couple times as an answer to the Gangplank, and you can be very aggressive in the laning phase. You actually have kill pressure once you hit level 6 as well. You have a lot of gank setup, you offer a lot of crowd control, and I love it when you have engages like Lissandra initially, because it's so easy for the Cho'Gath to then follow up afterwards. And I don't know if you've been seeing these new Cho'Gath builds. I call them new, they've been around for a little while now, but the Glacial Augment Cho'Gath builds, so you go for the typical things that you go for things like on a Vigar. So you go for the GLP and the Twin Shadows. Yes. And then you also run the Glacial Augment, and basically it just guarantees all your crowd control lands. And it becomes very difficult for carries to be able to escape you later on into the game.
Okay.
And the silence is going to be extremely valuable against things like the LeBlanc in the late game. She's going to dash in, get silence, and then she's stuck in the middle of a team. Exactly. So yeah, I quite like the comp that XL's gone for. I do think that they have really strong scaling options. Of course, you can't deny the fact that Vitality with a LeBlanc and a Gangplank in the late game are going to be very tough. And the big advantage that Vitality is going to have is that they have a very strong 2v2 in the mid jungle as well. So I expect to see Skeanz and Saken move around the map and look to try and affect these side lanes using that big duo.
Let's see how it ends up going down. Strong mid 2v2 coming out from Vitality. They will be looking to change their fortunes after a very disappointing start to the split. XL on the up and up, although a couple of their recent performances haven't shown them in their true light. Now. Yes, they are 2 and 3. I'll give you that, but they played Fnatic.
Yeah?
They played Origin. And here we go. Diving into Summoner's Rift once again. Second game of the day.
The GLHFs come out in the all chat. Respect being shown to both sides.
It looks like Expect's going grass here. He's not going Super Soaker.
I mean, that's fine. Going for more of the... going for
Just
more
imagine
of the...
if there was some variation in the chant.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe. Anyway. Next, you'll want a medic chant.
Hey. Medi-Vedi chant, Vedius. I'm not going to leave you behind in the chanting.
All right.
Double ward placed by Vitality at the red buff of XL.
Cho'Gath, though.
Oh, Cho'Gath. You want to talk about Cho'Gath?
We got to talk about all the runes, because it's
okay, let's talk about all of the runes. Where do you want to go?
So Grasp of the Undying for the Cho'Gath really stacks up nicely with the passive, where you already get a lot of sustain.
Sure.
It just makes you a lot beefier, so it's harder for champions like Gangplank to be able to bully you during the laning phase, especially early. But he's not going to have that Glacial Augment, the perma-slow thing. He's pretty much just going to be building tankier, you know? Be looking to be that durable front line and follow-up engages that things like the Lissandra and the Tresh can look to set up. You've also got Hail of Blades on the Rek'Sai. I can hear Ender screaming with excitement from here. This is the preferred rune of choice when going up against a lot of squishy opponents because of how quickly you can proc the Q and then build up that Fury and then bite into your opponent. Usually you only ever run the Conqueror when you're going up against a lot of tanky opponents and when you're running things like, you know, it's a Lee-Sin, it's a Gangplank, a lot of squishies on the opposite side, so Hail of Blade, the preferred choice. We also have the Aftershock run on the Lissandra. This is something that we saw a lot of in the past, but then of course some nerfs did happen to both Lissandra and the rune, and then many mid laners moved away from it, but it seems that Mickey's still saying, I want that durability, and honestly, I think it is the better rune against the LeBlanc specifically, because when she jumps in, you can pop that W to mitigate her, pop the Aftershock, and then even if she throws out any additional damage, you mitigate a lot of that burst, so I'm a big fan of it. And as we're already talking about the mid lane, you can see that Mickey's already gotten this early push. This actually isn't super common compared to what it used to be, largely because the Q cooldown at early levels is significantly longer now. It's around like 9 or 10 seconds at level 1, which means it can be quite challenging to actually get priority in the lane, depending on how aggressively the LeBlanc wants to play. But it looks like Saken has just allowed the wave to be pushed in. And he's then going to utilize the bounce back a little bit later on, as we see Caedral now heading level 3. Vitality is aware of what he's up to. They did ping him out. Cabochard does know, and you can see him hovering around the top side of the lane, but Skeanz is also on his way. The problem for Caedral is this is a massive wave, so it's really dangerous to try and force this play. Caedral is going to spot out Skeanz as well due to the Tremor Sense.
Looking for the knock-up onto Cabochard, but the barrel will stop him in his tracks. Expect low. Caedral low. Sonic Wave's going to connect. Caedral flashes away. Here's the teleport in as well. Going to get stopped by those chains in the mid lane. Caboch flashes forward. Okay.
Some shenanigans happening, Medic.
You could call them that. Saken trading onto Mickey in the mid lane.
I like this from Saken. He can kill him.
Looking for the kill. Can't quite get it. Of course, not running Ignite, running Cleanse in that mid lane.
Yeah. But still, he was in a position where he really threatened Mickey, and it was good for Mickey to hold on to that E until the last possible moment. Because if Saken could have found that chain, could have been very dangerous for Mickey.
And you know as well, he's just burnt his teleport. So if you can force him out of the lane, he's gone through all of his corrupting potion stacks already.
Yes.
And this is, we see this all the time.
Thank you, observers, for highlighting this. Mickey tried to get into a defensive spot where he could TP up and then look for this collapse, but he wasn't safe enough. Saken was able to interrupt with the chains. And this will put Mickey behind a little bit, because what you do like to do on Lissandra is utilize the fact that LeBlanc is often forced to run the cleanse, and so you have a TP advantage, so you can get a good base off, come back with an item advantage, and then you're in a much healthier position when trying to fight up against a very aggressive matchup. But because he won't have that, he's not going to get the ideal base. Saken's going to get a good reset, and you can actually see that Saken sitting on a CS advantage for the time being. So
has a slight lead in that middle lane. Amplifying Tome, well, 2 of them picked up by Mickey. It's Dark Seal and Amp Tome for Saken, who just pinged over towards level 5. Caedral's been trying to track Skeanz, or trying to just make some plays around the map, and Skeanz has been in the same sort of area generally. I do worry a little bit for Cabochard on the top side. Had to burn his teleport to get back into the lane and doesn't have the flash, so now we'll have to be just that little bit more defensive on the Gangplank.
Yeah, but that's fine. He's going to be looking to complete that training force where he kind of gets a little bit stronger. He just has to be careful of the potential gank setup that a Cho'Gath does offer. Yeah. And as you rightly said, no flash means that it's a lot easier for Expect. Flash in, W, which will apply the silence, and then follow up with the E that Expect is in fact maxing. Gives you a lot of additional trading power in the early laning phase, which is going to complement his grasp quite nicely.
Mickey looking for the root there. Does land it onto Saken, who still manages to get the distortion away. And you said early on it was a difficult matchup for the Lissandra in mid?
At very early levels, it can
before
be.
level 6, really.
Yeah.
Is what
largely because the Lissandra is quite squishy. She doesn't have a huge amount of health early on, and you don't just auto-push the wave, again, because of the cooldown on her Q. But now she's got 6, she can actually look for something. So I would have considered just using the ultimate there to force the cleanse out from Saken, and you would have gotten a good chunk of damage off regardless. But Mickey decides not to do it for now. And you can see that as he's leveling up, he's going to be putting more points into his Q. And what you'll notice he'll try to do with his Q is he'll angle in a way where he'll try and hit the minions and the LeBlanc as well. Because LeBlanc has quite a long auto-attack animation, and in that duration, you can actually use your Q, which is quite fast, to hit her and harass her.
Makes sense.
And it's those small windows where you want to keep trying to poke the LeBlanc down to try and help alleviate some of the pressure that she likes to expend during the early levels. But now that he's 6, pretty much impossible to kill the Lissandra, so LeBlanc now has to look to roam around the map. But again, she uses her wave clear, the W and the R, to try and push, which is again dangerous because those are often your escape tools.
Yep.
So this is why the matchup can be quite challenging for the LeBlanc, because there are very small windows where she can actually look to roam.
Skeanz has snuck into the top lane here. We wondered if it would be the mid-jungle 2v2 that really took the forefront in this game. So far, it's been mostly focused up towards the top side.
Just want to bring attention to the fact that because Expect is 6 and the amount of health that he has, he could actually kill Skeanz here.
Skeanz lands the Sonic Wave, the chase is on. Expect doesn't land the knockup. Skeanz able to flash away, and First Blood goes to Vitality.
Yeah, that was really well played from Vitality, but Expect, he overcommitted there to a small trade with Cabo. He was not expecting Skeanz to come out from the brush. You could see how much damage Expect actually did to Skeanz and how close he was to actually finding that kill. If he hadn't gone for that initial trade onto Cabo, then he probably would have walked away fine. And when we have a look back at the replay, we'll be able to pinpoint it a little bit closer. but it kind of brings back to what Whipper was talking about when he was on the desk with us yesterday, where the wave was pushing towards Expect, and what he really wanted to do was try and keep the wave where it was, as that the Scuttle Crab will be stolen away from Caedral, but he basically wanted to kind of freeze the wave in front of the tower so he could get those last hits and play defensively, and he should have also been aware that his jungler's on the bot side. But you can see, like, this wave is going towards it, and it's at this point. See, he oversteps, he's also tanking up the minions, and there's an easy minion for Skeanz to jump onto as well. If that Q had landed, that definitely would have been a kill onto Skeanz, or at the very least it would have forced Skeanz to flash earlier. Regardless though, Vitality do walk away with first blood, and they find it onto Expect.
Smart of Skeanz to step down towards the turret as well, instead of when he was under turret aggro going up. Would have been caught out by that Q, as you say. And the bot lane, there hasn't been too much going on. Comp's gone for early Zerka Greaves on the Varus, as we tend to see, build up those blight stacks as quickly as possible and get the extra damage down. XL were able to secure themselves the Cloud Drake as the gank went off top, and now Expect's coming down. A hungry, hungry Cho'Gath ready to consume this, you have to feel. Build up those stacks as quickly as possible. And we have seen some Cho'Gaths go towards Gargoyle Stoneplate as well for the extra tankiness in fights. As Saken trades onto Mickey.
It's a good trade from Saken overall. Got him just before Mickey hit level 8. We'll use the dematerializer there. But everything returns to normality. Cabochard's flash is back up. They got a good slow onto Cabo. Not going to overcommit though.
Not going to go for it. They've already seen what it can cost them. Let's talk a little bit about how these compositions look to play the next few minutes, the next 10, 15, because you said both sides actually have relatively good scaling. You can do quite a lot of damage with the LeBlanc late game. Of course, Gangplank scales very well, but you always, when you have an Aphelios in the game, you have to look towards that side and wonder if they'll be able to play those team fights well later on.
The thing I think about is relative damage from both sides. Okay. When you look at LeBlanc, Varus, and a Gangplank, their DPS in a fight is actually pretty consistent. Lissandra is pretty reliant on completing things like the Ludens. She ideally wants a little bit of cooldown reduction as well somewhere. But her damage actually isn't the strongest early. Actually, as we see a bit of a sneaky gank being set up by Caedral's move into the wave. You can also see the Braum hanging around the mid lane as well. And what I wanted to see from Vitality was them open up the mid lane a little bit more. If they can force a flash out from Mickey, that's great. But basically, they want to try and get the LeBlanc moving around the map. See if they can move her to a side lane, maybe set up a dive. You can see a wave stacking up in the top lane for Cabochard. Maybe they would use this as an opportunity to then like threaten the Cho'Gath and just try and get some kills and gold onto the big carry. It's a good trade happens here.
Oh, Jactroll has the Fisher. Toy still on level 5, has to flash away, looking for the concussive blows on Patrik, but can't get it. Skeanz coming in through a pink ward. The Lantern is there, but he just can't get to it. Patrik flashes, gets to the Lantern, but the final order will follow him down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Cabochard didn't even need to flash to escape the gank.
Yeah, and I think Patrik's ultimate just went completely wide there. Not even in the general direction of Vitality's bot lane. But this is going extremely well for Vitality. They're able to find some of these picks. They don't need the LeBlanc to roam down because just a bit of an overextension from XL, and Comp and Jactroll recognizing the item level advantage rather that they had over Tori and Patrik, and fast to punish them.
That's a big change from the Vitality we saw yesterday, really struggling in their game. Remember, coming into the day, a lot of people discussed our Vitality and Schalke on the same level. Well, this early game has been a lot stronger than Schalke's early game was in game 1 of the day.
For sure. And Comp's going to go back with a lot of gold. So let's have a look here. You can see that Tori still on level 5. His positioning is actually pretty safe. They think they're okay here. But I like the decision-making from Jactroll. Ultimate comes out from Comp. He jumps then onto the ward to land the ultimate. They think they can go for this trade. And then interesting decision-making here from Patrik. He should see the Lee Sin at this point. But then look, his ultimate actually goes down south. Nowhere near the enemy. And then he just gets kicked back. He tries to flash towards the Lantern, but the Varus auto attack is already in the air, and there's little you can do to get away from that one. So, yeah uncharacteristic play from Patrik.
That's an odd one.
Vitality take advantage.
And Vitality about 2,000, 1,500 gold ahead right now, in a very strong position early on in this game. Saken jumping in, just stealing away. This LeBlanc, he's been absolutely exceptional on it so far. Caedral able to get away, but Saken, he said he wouldn't be able to win that mid 1v1 matchup anymore because the Lissandra is just going to have too much.
Well, it gets harder. It gets harder.
It's harder.
It's not impossible, right? Like
Saken is using pressure in the mid lane and then stealing away Caedral's jungle, pressuring him. Hook does land here in the bottom lane as Comp goes golden for the second. Flashes away from the box as Chain of Corruption coming out, and here comes Skeanz as well. Caedral uses the Void Rush, but he's going to fall first. Expect and Mickey teleporting in, though, as Excel, they want the fight in the bottom lane. 2 for 2 so far. Now Comp, can you get away? Lissandra has her ult. You don't have anywhere to go, my friend. Comp will be caught out. They're going to try and give it across towards Expect, who gobbles up his first kill of the game.
So Excel utilize the double teleports to quickly turn that fight in their favor. Without their jungler, they can't commit towards the Drake, but they can get themselves a couple of plates in the bot lane. Vitality going to try and trade in both the mid and top as well. I liked Excel's decisiveness to force onto Comp. They knew at the very least they could get the flash out from him, but I was not expecting the double TP to come through from Excel. That's probably why they tried to force the play in the first place. We can see the gold actually very even across the board. Let's have a look back at this play. 3 members of Vitality on your minimap are actually making the rotation down. Tora uses a minion to close the gap and then Flame mid-travel distance. And at this point you're thinking, oh no, it's going to be disaster for XL, but the double TPs are already coming through for XL. There's the double knockup, the silence. Cobb does secure the kill onto Torre, but his teammates fall behind, and it's Patrik that actually secures that initial double kill as Expect rather cleans up the fight with his ultimate. Of course, you do invest the double TP, and you give a bit of time for Cabochard and Saken to pick up that solo gold. But Mickey now level 11. He's completed the Luden's Echo. Gonna have a lot more wave clear. The Q is fully maxed, so that cooldown is gonna be much shorter. And this is really where the Lissandra starts to come online. Her damage really starts to be felt.
I did just have a quick look back at that replay. Caedral dying there cost XL more than they know because the Rift Herald expired as he was dead, so they weren't even able to use that. Of course, would have wanted to break that first turret in the bottom lane. They did get 4 of the plates out of it, but still, not utilizing every advantage in your favor can cost you when it comes to the LEC stage. Saken trading with Mickey in the mid lane as the Mountain Dragon has spawned. And Vitality have the priority highway towards it. Now, Caedral is level 8, same level as Skeanz. Cabochard, ooh, that was close. Here comes Torre. Skeanz is on his way down. The hooks lands, but it's on the Braum. Not really the target you want. Sentry put down. Caedral kick back. Skeanz trying to land it, but Torre stands in front of the resonating strike. Jactroll flashes away just in time with the Moonlight Vigil. Oh, that's a golden gift for Jactroll as he just about survives in the bottom lane.
Very close there for Jactroll. Will be forced back. A number of summoners were burnt. Both the heal and flash now gone for Jactroll, but the flash gone for Mickey. So that dive threat is heavily mitigated on the size of XL. And a lot of health bars are very low, so they're not feeling super confident about committing to this. And Saken's going to use this opportunity to push in mid as Cabochard continues to push in the top lane, completing the Trinity Force now, giving him a little bit more power in that top lane 1v1.
Yeah, Expect going for a bunch of armor to start us off. Could be building up towards a Righteous Glory first item if he wanted. Looking to go fast and run at Vitality at every given opportunity. And now that Vitality know XL have disengaged and reset, they're going to push for this Mountain Drake. Feels like XL didn't really prioritize that themselves, didn't really want to go for it. Would have been pretty beneficial to have that extra armor and magic resist, but instead Caedral says, well, we tried it once, we got it. Weren't able to use it, but maybe they can use the second Rift Herald a little bit more advantageously.
Skeanz going to prioritize the bottom Mountain Drake. Frost talked about this earlier in the day, the early Rift Herald. Usually you trade it for a Drake, but to be fair to XL, they're able to get the first cloud. Of course, this will cost XL the first tower of the game, but XL should be able to trade this one back once they secure this objective. The question is, will they look to use it mid or top? I think that if they can break down the mid tower, it opens up the map a lot, allows you to take these side lane towers that much easier. We can actually see pings coming down on the bot side of the map. XL are expecting a swap to come through from Vitality. So XL want to try and rush this one. They want to try and get towards the tower as quickly as possible. The health is very low. You can see a lot of pings on the minimap right now towards the mid lane. Vitality have a clear goal in mind.
Here the Vitality players rattling off commands with each other. You can see Comp actually coming down towards the bottom side of this mid, perhaps looking for a pincer on Mickey. Very hard to catch Lissandra out. Patrik will be able to break open this bot lane turret, get the first tower of the game for XL. Vitality still a sizable gold lead, about 1,500 is their advantage. Expect realizing he can't do too much of all of Vitality on this side of the map, so he backs away. And yeah, actually it looks like Patrik's just going to keep pushing in that bottom lane. Vitality.
I think he's just going to push the wave into the tower so that it bounces back.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because we're now at a point where 2 cannon minion waves start as...
I mean...
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Vitality gave up all pressure mid to try and look for that top lane play, and the Rift Herald just comes in and charges the turret. So It was mid that they used it on, but
yeah.
it feels more of a misstep from Vitality than anything else.
A bit, yeah. So the problem that I think they had was that they sent multiple members mid lane to try and threaten or push or take advantage of the fact that XL had a man bot. But by doing that, you had no one to catch the wave. So it ends up getting underneath the tower, and then XL can use this as an opportunity to just get control over this bot side of the jungle. And you can see this ward here. If I can push the button properly.
It's difficult.
Never mind. Anyway, you can see these wards around here, right? You can see them.
Something going on here. Okay. So I'm just gonna say, let's not touch that for the moment.
Anyway, you saw with a larger mini map, the wards on the blue side jungle of Vitality. Anyway, they use that in order to move then from bot side to mid in order to take the tower. That was the main point that I was trying to get at. But now, Vitality have done the same thing to XL, where XL have kept all their members mid. There's no one to contend Vitality in the bot lane. And again, they used this pressure bot to get vision in the enemy jungle, and then they just trade it for a tower. So, just, yeah, a little weird.
Taking advantage of when your enemy makes a misplay is a very important part of League of Legends.
I mean, it's a cool representation of what can happen with poor lane assignments and like what you can do if you're in the right place at the right time. And now Vitality actually have pressure across the board. They've got top lane pushing in, they've got bot pushing in, and this gives them freedom to have 4 members in mid sieging onto this tower and slowly chipping it away. But they're going to have to respond soon because, again, I'm just going to larger the minimap. The bot lane is now starting to push in favor of XL, and top lane is being caught. So XL's going to have time soon to be able to respond and then collapse in the mid lane as they manage these waves. So Vitality are going to use this as an opportunity to reset, or at least they should, so they can then come back out onto the map, catch these waves, and then start moving around the map freely.
Both Comp and Patrik have just used their flashes. I believe it was a flash chain of corruption that was equaled by Patrik to get himself out. So Duke obviously looks a little bit irate, I would say, on the coach cam there, perhaps wondering about some of those lane positioning, lane assignments from his team. But Vitality are still in the lead. And for a 0-5 team, they're looking pretty strong so far this game.
Yeah.
As about 1,300 gold lead, I believe, on Cabochard over expect. Yeah, flash for flash in the mid lane.
Thank you for highlighting that for us observers. Good response from both AD carries there. Com has actually been really aggressive with his ultimates this game. He's actually used, I think, already like 4 within the space of 20 minutes, which is a lot more than we normally see from many Varus players.
But if it's on off cooldown...
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's great. It's great to see. You know, you use the ultimates where you can. It's like when people draft Ashe and then you don't see an ultimate all game, or, I don't know, you see a Nocturne jungle and you don't get an ultimate.
Or you see a Nocturne mid and he never comes bot lane, even though it's really easy for him to
never happen.
Saken is fighting Mickey in the top lane. Uses the Tomb of Ice, actually able to get himself away there. Good flash from Mickey.
So, Lissandra, ladies and gentlemen, 3 versus 1, still lives. Of course, it costs her flash, and she doesn't really get anything in return, but you can see the obnoxious power of the champion. I'm surprised that Mickey went for a Proto Belt second, largely because if you're going for a big AP item, you normally just want to try and then start building things like the Zhonya's.
Yeah.
Maybe even get the Oblivion Orb, so you have that extra bit of damage. So you can have more of that one-shot dive power. But the fact that he's gone for the Proto Belt does give him a little bit more mobility. It gives him health and cooldown reduction. All very valuable things on the Lissandra, don't get me wrong. But I would now... And he's also gone for Sword Shoes, which I don't really agree with.
It's definitely an argument for Merc.
Yes, I think I would have preferred it, especially if you're going to be side laning a lot more against the LeBlanc. Like, don't get me wrong, Lissandra's tanky and difficult to deal with. I mean, we just saw what happens when you try to all in, but... I don't know, maybe I'm overly cautious in this matchup, but we'll see how it pays off for him. Definitely has a lot of damage, so if Mickey does dive onto comp, you can be sure that he has a lot of kill threat available in his kit.
I was being able to survive the first 20 minutes of the game with Sword Boots, so he is... I mean, you saw his highlight play against Fnatic yesterday. He likes to be in your face. He likes to try and make those outplays. He's mechanically a very sound player. Sometimes his macro decision-making, it feels, leaves something to be desired, his positioning, but so far this game, he's been in the right place at the right time for his team.
No one checking the brush. Means that Vitality have good vision over the top side. They've got control over the river right now. And we're kind of thinking next steps, right?
Yeah,
Drake
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, allow me to assist.
Okay, thank you.
Drake spawns in about 4 minutes, so that's not going to be the primary objective. When I look across some of the items, 2 have now been completed for Cabochard, and it looks like he's working towards the 3rd. with this itemization that he's gone for, he's going to be a little bit more durable in team fights. So I'd argue that don't expect as much damage as you would normally see at this point in the game from someone like the Rek'Sai, where you sometimes see an Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, things like this.
Oh, good hook. Flay, Saken ignited.
Ult, there it is.
There's the ult to chase him down. Caedral lands it, teleport coming in mid lane as now Vitality are running for the hills. Double TP, expect.
Righteous Glory.
Here he comes. What are you going to do when the Cho comes for you right now? They're going to dodge everything. The hook doesn't connect. The jump back in from Skeanz, but he's able to leap away. And XL perhaps missed their chance to start the fight they really wanted, but Mickey still has the flank, has the Frozen Tomb. Chucks out a shard of ice. Isn't going to be able to find too much more. They are cutting Vitality off.
Exactly
as
that.
Patrik pushes in mid.
Yeah, they're forcing Vitality to go the long way around, or they're even forcing them to base. And this is going to give XL the opportunity to take this mid-tier 1. Big mistake there from Saken. Will cost his team a lot.
That was quick from Comp.
QSS.
Has the QSS as his second and a half item.
Couldn't ask for a better time to have it, that's for sure. I like the response from Cabo, though, doing what he often does, split pushing in the bot lane. He's already pushing out this wave, creating a point of pressure that XL have to respond to. And this means that threatening the Baron is something that XL will not be able to do right now as they look to reset. And it also gives Vitality an opportunity to then rush into the river, clear out some of this vision, and get some control themselves.
Comp actually bought the QSS completely between backing and then teleporting to the inhibitor tower. So it was the perfect time for him to have it. XL have been able to just chip back in that gold lead that Vitality have generated through plays like this.
So Saken, he's just walking into the enemy jungle. I don't think he even had any vision in his inventory at the time, so I think he wanted to get into a position where he could set up a flank or identify where XL was, and it ends up just costing him his life, so bit of a blunder there from Saken.
Burns his flash at the end as well, and as Dracos and Ender would tell you, can't flash that.
No, you cannot.
Cannot get away with that from that with the flash anymore. So quite a while ago that was changed. And now XL just getting vision control of their own jungle. Will want to set up towards the Baron relatively soon, you have to feel. That push forward. They really want that top lane turret down as well because...
I mean, you don't really care about it that much.
I mean, it's free gold, Vedius.
It'll fall eventually. It's free gold. The fact that they've taken the mid tower is probably more important when it comes to setting up the Baron, because look, they've pushed in mid, now they'll move into the enemy jungle, and they'll be like, Vitality, leave. Oh no. Alright, I mean, so their Baron is fast because they have Aphelios and they also have Cho'Gath. So it looks like they're going to try and rush this one down.
Cabo pops the ult. That's what they wanted. Of course, Gangplank, one of those champions that has two ways of impacting the map from the other side, teleport and the ult.
Look at the mini-map once again. You can see Cabochard split pushing. He just hit level 16. No teleports on XL mean that Vitality can do what they've done a lot, which is have Cabochard push in a wave bot. The moment someone shows, they then immediately TP and try to rush the Baron down themselves. Because of the response from XL would be very slow, it would be a great opportunity for Vitality, but they've decided not to gamble it, not to force it. As this Gangplank just continues to get stronger. Essence Reaver now done for him.
You say they've done it a lot, but they are 0-5, Vedius. So is it always the best play for them?
I was thinking of old Vitality. This is something that Cabochard and Jizuke would actually do a lot. And they've snuck a lot of Barons in the past. But that's why I always think when Cabochard is split pushing, that's what he has in his mind.
That makes sense.
Saying, hey, we know we have TP advantage. I've created a point of pressure. XL now have to answer that pressure, and the moment they do, we can do something. So that's how Cabochard usually likes to use a teleport. And right now he's just grouped up with his team as Vitality look to contest the Drake.
There's an Ocean Dragon for them. XL, it seems like pinging up towards the top side of the map. They'll clear out all of this vision while Vitality take their time on the Ocean Dragon. Will be an ocean apiece, a cloud for XL, and a mountain for Vitality to add to it. XL, you don't start this one up. You just get the vision control and you go for, you know what you go for, Vedi? Go for that top lane tower. That's where Mickey's making his way.
Yeah, as we said, it was going to fall down eventually. Now that they've taken it, or look to take it, it means that you can push the wave much deeper, so getting that deep vision is a little bit easier. Or will they?
Does it die to the cannon wave? I'm pretty sure it dies to the cannon wave.
So we're at 26 minutes now, which means that every wave a cannon minion is there. And this can result in waves actually kind of getting stuck in awkward spots where they just kind of freeze. The tower will die. You are way too excited about that.
Me and the 8 people in the crowd that joined in.
Wow. You guys are way too invested in that tower.
At least
Baron started up once again.
Cabochard has the ultimate once again, so expect to see him just throw this down as soon as Vitality realize it's going on. Maybe just wait a little bit. so that XL can take some damage, but of course expect very tanky. There's the cannon barrage, XL back away straight away. And the Baron resets.
Same thing, exactly the same play, but look at where Cabochard is this time. He's very close to that tower. He's just going to take that one.
Yeah, tower's gone. No ways for that one.
Great split push.
Vitality here. Yeah, very good position.
Yeah, they're playing the side lanes extremely well. This is very old school Vitality. Normally you'd see a Rise split pushing right behind him. But Saken can do a similar sort of play with the LeBlanc for now. He's not doing it. He's just acting as wave clear, sticking with his team, trying to disrupt any backs that XL have. But soon those TPs are going to be up. And when they are, that's when XL could really start to threaten the Baron a lot more.
Yeah, it does feel like at the moment there's just that little bit of hesitancy from XL. Making the same play twice, just getting Cannon Barrage out really didn't get them too much. And Vitality still have that 3,000 gold lead. They're holding on too well. They're playing around the power of Gangplank in a side lane. 3 items on Cabochard, Essence Reaver, Sterak's, and the Trinity Force. Infinity Edge on its way, you have to feel. And have a quick look at how much gold he is sitting on right now as I jump my computer to live. Oh, he's just spent a bunch, so that's why he's not sitting on too much. But he's about 3,000 gold ahead of Expect.
Yep. That's what the gold difference is right now,
yeah.
You know? Mid lane is a pretty even. Oh, wow, Death Cap next to Mickey. He's not holding back, is he? All right. I guess he really wants to kill Comp. See if he can do it.
The best CC is Death and Saken. Oh, the hook.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you build full damage. Why hold back? Really well played from XL. It's Saken who's caught again. And before the, I mean, now the TPs are up. The Gangplank is split pushing in the bot lane. Skeanz is going to try and go for a steal, but Mickey's going to do his best to interrupt it.
Mickey doesn't have ult, but does have the ability just to be a nuisance here for Skeanz. Expect tanked up the entire cannon barrage, means that the Baron doesn't reset. Skeanz looking for the jump in. Cabochard is on the inhib, but Skeanz has gone down towards the bottom side. The Moonlight Vigil, the Rupture, the hook. Oh, that was absolutely gorgeous, XL. They caught the man they needed. They take the Baron. They will lose an inhibitor for it, but the chase may still continue. Caedral decides he doesn't want to follow up with the Void Rush. Mickey's actually gone off towards top here to try and get that wave pushing in.
And it's Saken who unfortunately gets picked off once again. He's going to be feeling the frustration from that one because that's 2 blunders now that have cost his team a lot, but this time it is so much worse. Baron, top tower going to go down, and XL going to use this as an opportunity to reset.
Oh.
I mean, the TPs are available on the Lissandra. He's looking to just immediately regroup.
Yep.
And I think they can just keep Expect bot lane for now. They don't need to bring him up yet. Skeanz is still dead. They're just melting through this tower.
Comp took a moonshot, followed up. There's the root. Saken trying to jump in, but this inhibitor has to be the target. Winter's Bite lands from Jactroll onto Mickey. The inhibitor. Oh, the Unbreakable will keep it alive. Saken still has the flank. Expect can teleport in. The inhibitor falls. Unbreakable was broken in the end.
So XL can now easily just play through 2 lanes. They can keep the Cho'Gath in the bot lane. The rest of them can group up mid. They can even look to take the next Ocean Drake if they want. And let's just have a look back. We talked a lot about the itemization from Lissandra. You know, I was debating whether it was worth it or not. Turns out it was worth it. Great hook from Tori. Probably wouldn't have resulted in a kill if that hook did not land. But honestly, really well done. The damage combo, and you just get to see how obnoxious Lissandra can be for LeBlanc. She tries to dash in, tries to find those picks, and she just can't do it. Then we get to see the ultimate come out from Aphelios, combined with the knockup, combined with the hook. Great chain CC coming out from XL, and you're also seeing the power of this Cho'Gath in this composition. You land 1 CC, every other piece falls into place.
Great stuff from Torre, specifically on that Thresh. His hit hooks. Gold lead now for XL for the first time since about the 6-minute mark. Caedral trying to burrow his way away, but won't escape yet. Sonic Wave coming out, the chase is on as Patrick's here. There's a teleport. Expect trying to get in behind the Moonlight Vigil, doesn't hit the mark, but Expect can still chase in. Slowed up for the moment with Mickey pushing in bot. XL don't want to force this too much more.
The Gangplank is in the top lane trying to push that wave out, but honestly, XL are not that afraid of it. Yes, he has a wave, but XL have a Baron. Saken's going to try and interrupt the wave. No one's actually Baroned it up, but they don't care. XL's eyes are set on the bot tower instead.
The inhibitor tower has to be the target. It's actually a 5v3 right now because Saken is in the mid lane, clearing out the minions. Cabochard on the inhibitor tower in that top lane.
So the super minions are making it too difficult for Expect in the top lane, but XL, they still don't feel happy about this current situation. They're going to walk away with the inhibitor. They still have the Baron up for 15 more seconds. They're going to interrupt Cabochard split pushing, and now they can just set their eyes on the mid-tier. Ooh,
oh, Jactroll. It's just been a few times from Vitality where they overstep or they miss position and someone gets caught out, and it's costing them so much. Cabochard actually had to flash away from Expect as he tried too hard to get that inhibitor tower. And now XL are in a great position to take their third dragon of the game.
Yeah. Well played overall, been a pretty clean game. I think Vitality have done a good job of making things obnoxious for this XL squad. But it is still XL who's come out on top. They've been the more consistent. They haven't been caught out as regularly. We've seen a couple of questionable plays, but the moment they enter the mid-game, it feels like Vitality still can't find that avenue to success.
I want to come back to a question we asked in Pick and Ban at the start of the game, Vedius. We said if XL want to be seen as a challenger for the top 4, they really need to demolish Vitality. They need to sweep them away. Yeah. This hasn't felt like a demolition to me.
No.
But XL have still played well enough to win.
Yeah.
What do you think of XL after this game? Where would you rate them in your...
I mean, I still need to do like a proper review.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
I'm not asking you, I'm not saying this is where you rate XL forever.
I mean, the internet will hold me accountable for literally ever.
So will I, and I'll tweet at you saying you said XL was the second best team in the league.
I would say that right now they're pretty comfortably 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
They still sit behind the top 4. I still think Rogue have showcased a little bit more than what we've seen from XL. Definitely still a lot of potential from XL. It's very much a matter of how much more growth can they show. Ultimate now comes out, Vitality, last-ditch attempt.
Yeah, but Expect just gets the Lantern and gets the safety. Also, Expect's probably not the target you want to be hard engaging on. Varus can shred through a tank, but Expect is incredibly tanky right now. I think he's sitting at over 4,000 HP. Yep, almost 5,000, 4,914 health on that Cho'Gath.
You know, if you watch more Dragon Ball, there could have been a great reference there. But
you could have made it, Vedius, and I would have followed along. Expect, Righteous Glory running in. The hook misses on Cobb. The Rupture's not going to connect either. Expect actually jumping into the middle, but here comes Mickey from the side. Cobb with the cleanse, he's shut down. Jactroll's going to fall as well. That's 3. Saken tries to jump in, but he can only get 1 and 2 for Cabo. And now it's only Cabochard left alive. No chef here. Caedral jumps forward. Cabochard doing what he can. The Void Rush comes in. Cabo gets another. But in the end, he'll fall. It was a valiant effort, Cabochard. Trying to carry Vitality, kicking and screaming to the end of the game. But this will be it. First Nexus Tower falls. Second shortly to follow, although it might take a little bit of time because Cho'Gath and Lissandra aren't the quickest turret takers in the world. And in the end, XL will equal out their record. 3-3 in the LEC.
Solid game from XL. Nothing that stood out that was exceptional. It was largely just a couple of solid picks onto Saken. Saken's got to be feeling a lot of frustration after that game. 2 crucial picks which cost his team a lot of pressure. And you could see the Vitality's main win condition was trying to utilize this Gangplank on the side lane, trying to stall out. Every time XL tried to start the Baron, they couldn't because of the Gangplank ultimate, the threat of a LeBlanc one-shot. There were so many things that made it actually hard for XL, especially when their teleports were down. And I think Vitality had a good idea. The problem is they couldn't quite break the pace. They couldn't quite do anything before XL were in a position to then challenge. And the moment those teleports were up is the moment Saken then lost his life. And this is when the game really started to get hard for Vitality.
XL played to their win conditions, although Vitality did put up quite a strong fight. Your key player of the game vote is at LEC over on Twitter. Mickey, Patrik, and Torre are your options. I'm pretty sure I'd give it to Mickey if it was me.
Probably.
I think he had a really good performance.